It's still happening. It's my house, my rules, my stuff. You're a child. You owe nothing. I let you borrow it. That's it. How do you think that feels for a child to be constantly reminded, this isn't your house, this isn't your home, it's mine, you're just borrowing it. Here's a phone I'm giving you, but it's not yours, it's mine, so I'm going to use it as a manipulation tool anytime you don't do what I want. See, parents have this mentality and then they wonder why their kids don't want to be around them, why they don't feel comfortable in their own home, which is the place that they should feel the most comfortable and the most free. It's because of that. Yes, that right there. I also don't owe them a damn thing except food, housing, shelter, and kindness. I said, so you had children to give them the bare minimum? They must love it. Our children did not ask to be here. I don't understand why people even have kids if this is the mentality they have. So we have to expect kids to take care of everything, treat it with respect, treat us with respect while we're constantly reminding them, you're taking care of that, but it's not yours. You take care of your room, but it's not yours. Nothing in this house is yours because you owe me everything because you're here, even though I chose to make you be here. Like, what the fuck is that?
I'm Kelly Clarkson. I won American Idol and my debut album went to #1. One song on the album I wrote with Christina Aguilera. She was in the Mickey Mouse Club with Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake. Justin is a member of NSYNC. They sang on the soundtrack for The Grinch, starring Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey was in a movie with Renee Zellweger, who's worked with Catherine Zeta-Jones, who's acted with John Cusack, who has a house in Malibu near Pamela Anderson, who dated Scott Baio, who was on Happy Days with Ron Howard, who directed Apollo 13 starring Tom Hanks. He's married to Rita Mosier, who was in Rich Love Cancer
I want to talk about autism and anger rumination. To ruminate on something is basically to get stuck revisiting a certain thought, feeling, or event that has happened to you. It's very common for rigid thinkers and therefore a pretty common behavior for autistic people. In fact, studies have shown that autistic people often experience anger rumination at higher rates than other people. It has been described as being a maladaptive form of emotion processing that entails remaining focused on the stressor through repetitive and passive dwelling under distress, past mistakes, regrets, and shortcomings. This was something I really struggled with earlier this year, and it was deeply embarrassing for me to admit that. I had a friend who hurt me very deeply, and I became obsessed with that hurt. And I was essentially torturing myself by just reliving it over and over and over again. To this day, I still have to be very careful with managing reminders of this person because I don't want to fall back into that pattern of thinking. Because getting stuck in that pattern prevents me from moving forward with life.
I read this quote once that said, "It's not fair that we laugh together and you cried alone," and I've been thinking about that quote all day long and I get so right.
Yo, why do they call them autistic people who live in Washington, D.C. and not special interest groups?
Hey, guess what? Your parents knew they were traumatizing you, and these are the 6 signs that confirm it. Number 1, they saw the negative reactions in you. That's right, when your parents were hitting you or neglecting you or otherwise inflicting brain damage on you as a child, they could see you cry, they could see you shut down, they could see all kinds of negative reactions to what they were doing, which showed them that, hey, this isn't a great thing. Number 2, they saw the hang-ups that the trauma created in you. When you're traumatized by your parents, you develop hang-ups early on. Some of those hang-ups might be like shutting down whenever you are encountered with stress, or not being able to make your own decisions, or people-pleasing, or having explosive emotional reaction. Your parents saw these negative hang-ups in you. As a matter of fact, they probably called you out, screamed and yelled at you, or even hit you when they saw some of them. They knew. Number 3, your parents remember being children. That's right. Your parents remember what it was like when they got traumatized by their parents. They remember the negative emotions, and they remember standing there as children and thinking, why is this happening to me? I'll never do this to anybody else. But they did, even though they still have the emotional memory of being a child. Number 4, and this is a big one. This is a really big one, so you really need to listen up. Your parents hid their worst behaviors. When you went out into the real world, they slapped on that smile and acted like they were the perfect parent. They probably told people how proud they were of you and how great of a kid you were. And then behind closed doors, they terrorized you. Yeah, they hid that behavior. They put on that mask in public because they knew the way they were treating you behind closed doors was wrong. That's why they didn't show it to other people. Number 5, they shame you into silence. If every time you speak up about a negative emotion that you felt on the back of something that your parents do, and then they shame you for saying that, and they make you the villain, they know that what they've done is wrong and they are trying to avoid accountability. And last but not least, number 6, they keep you out of the way. This is the cold and aloof parent who does everything they can to avoid spending quality time with their child, in which they have to look them in the eye and look at the mistakes they've made. This is the parent who's happy for you to be out of the way as much as possible. Loving parents don't like to push their loved children out of the way. They enjoy spending time with them. They enjoy looking them in the eye, but not the toxic parent. Did your parents exhibit any of those behaviors? Then there's a pretty good chance they knew they were traumatizing you or treating you wrong. Truth is the first step in healing. Follow for more.
You react to your emotions in the same way that your caregivers reacted to your emotions. If your caregivers validated the way that you felt, you can probably do the same for yourself. If your caregivers punished you for the way that you expressed your emotions, you probably do the same. If your caregivers made your emotions about them, then you probably prioritize the emotions of others over your own. If your caregivers totally ignored the way that you felt, you probably do the best to do the same to yourself. Understanding this is one of the biggest steps towards healing.
I can't do it! I can't do it! I can't do it! I can't do it! Lord, no!
I just found out that autistic toe walking does not mean literally walking on your tiptoes. It is yet another term that they did not consider the literal interpretation most autistic people would make. It just means not putting weight on your heel or avoiding putting weight on your heel. And I now realize that I do that a lot.
Here are some of my top tips for driving as an autistic person.
STIM. This can include listening to music. This can also help drown out other sounds from the road. Singing or humming, tapping, chewing, or using small fidget toys. Use maps so you can think less about directions and focus more on driving. Verbally process. I find it helpful to talk through my actions. Make your car a comfortable environment. This could include incorporating your special interests.
I didn't think that I thought literally because I took literal thinking literally. I was like, well, I can't possibly think literally because when someone says to me, I laughed my head off, I'm not thinking that they literally laughed their head off unless they say, I literally laughed my head off, in which case I'm like, you didn't though, did you? Because your head is very much still attached because you are the one telling the story and I desperately want to correct them. But crucially, I don't correct them because I've learned that people don't like being corrected, so I stop myself. But I am thinking, it didn't literally happen though, did it? You didn't literally laugh your head off. You didn't literally die laughing. You can say I died laughing because that's an expression and I don't take that literally. But if you say, I literally died laughing, I'm like, well, are you a ghost? Because I don't think you did. Turns out, I do think literally.
Something that I think is important to drive home the point that everything we know about the diagnosis and treatment of autism is relatively new and still developing is that the first person ever diagnosed with autism is still alive. Donald Triplett was born in 1933 and is known as the first person to be diagnosed with autism. He's still alive and is currently 89 years old. All of our research and knowledge of autism has only spanned one lifetime.